Are Labradors good with other dogs? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. Before we launch into answering a question as complex as this one, it is first important to clarify just what is meant by good with other dogs. It's of course true that all breeds will have some specimens who totally defy expectations as far as dog friendliness is concerned, as rare genetic anomalies. And it's also true that any dog of any breed can become a bit of a nightmare around other dogs if they've not had the best socialisation and training around obedience and manners. With that said, when we do look at breeds as a whole, it is pretty clear that Labs are amongst the most consistently excellent with other dogs. The average Labrador in a family home that is a show-bred, middle-aged lab raised from puppyhood is most likely to be great with other dogs. By great, I mean friendly, playful, tolerant and often affectionate. Given their supreme intelligence and above average eyesight, they also tend to be pretty good at reading their peers' body language and responding accordingly, meaning that they rarely overstep the mark in their interactions. Now, I use the phrase average Labrador very deliberately just now because there are always going to be exceptions. Indeed, you can't get away from the fact that working line Labradors are not quite that sociable with dogs or other people beyond their handlers and immediate collaborators, because they are born to work and are interested in little else. It's also impossible to ignore the fact that young Labradors and those who have not been raised by a consistent loving leader can be a bit of a handful when they play, leaving many other dogs not happy. Finally, it's worth saying that the odd Labrador puppy is just born without much interest in social things, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong, dog pals are nice, but there's nothing to suggest that all dogs need to be social butterflies. Delving into the research for a minute, I can tell you that Labradors come out looking really good in this area though. In a 2014 study, Labrador Retrievers were found to be among the lowest scoring dogs for dog-to-dog aggression of all the breeds examined, beaten by only the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and were by far the lowest scoring for dog rivalry, meaning that it just isn't typical for Labs to take issue with other dogs. They were also well below average in terms of fear around unfamiliar dogs. These findings are consistent with a 2008 study in which only the Shetland sheepdog scored lower for dog-to-dog aggression, making Labs the second most friendly breed researched. Read as many studies as you can and explore the data of the American Temperament Test Society, or ATTS, and you'll find the same. These are friendly dogs. However, friendly dogs aren't always the best with other dogs, because friendliness can sometimes go far too far. Without adequate obedience training and impeccable manners, it is entirely possible that your lab can get itself into trouble with strange dogs by being too forward, too playful, too interested. Famed for their playful nature and desire to meet all passing people and dogs directly, it is all too common to hear of unfamiliar dogs perceiving the over-friendliness as a threat and responding with aggression. With that in mind, it's important to state that responsible dog ownership is about preventing that from happening, for the sake of your own lab and for the other dogs. No introduction should be made without the express permission of the other owner, regardless of how great your dog is with other dogs. So to sum up, well-trained and well-socialized Labradors are likely amongst the best in the world when it comes to other dogs, and with a well-planned and smoothly executed introduction can become good friends with the vast majority of dogs that it gets to meet in its life with you.